Give me something to talk about. I'm feeling a little
Good morning and welcome to the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Our new time is Saturday and Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers. We are your local advocates for real estate and finance here in Salt Lake City. If you missed our show last week, visit us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Womack Radio. And you could also visit our radio website at womackradio.com. We've got a great show planned for you this morning. Again, if you missed our show last week, we had Will Morrison, a bankruptcy attorney, and Chris Walker with Alpha Graphics that talked about different marketing for small businesses and large businesses here in Salt Lake. Today, we've got Max Pia. He's a pest control specialist. And we're going to talk a little bit about pest control. And then later in the show, we actually have my father on the show, and he's going to be talking about home and auto insurance. Our first guest is Max. Max, it's great to have you on the show today.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in Salt Lake. I've loved it here. I love getting up in the mountains and doing basically everything that there is to do up there. And then about 4.5 years ago, I started Pest Pro, a pest control company. And it's been a good, exciting experience. Pretty much every day there's something new and fun to see out there.
So Pest Pro is your own company?
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have any partners or is it just you?
So it's me, and then I've got a technician and an office guy.
Okay.
So it's the three of us.
And where's your office at?
It's downtown. It's like 3rd South and 3rd West and 5th South.
Okay. And what areas do you guys service?
So we do basically the full Salt Lake Valley and then up into Park City and up the canyons.
Okay. So you service a pretty big area of Salt Lake?
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit earlier about roaches. I'm sure you see roaches and all kinds of different pests. What's some of the big pests that you're dealing with right now?
So there's ants, spiders, roaches are starting to pick up in the summer season. Skunks, raccoons. Pretty much if you can think of something to get in your house, we'll take care of it. We'll get it out of there.
So skunks and raccoons too.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I would think you would call like animal control for those.
So animal control won't deal with skunks, so it's all the pest control companies have to take over and get dirty.
What do you do for skunks?
We'll set traps, and then once we get them, we'll come and slowly sneak up to their cage and put a towel over it and take it away. Hopefully not get sprayed.
So is this a special kind of towel, or is this just?
It's just a towel that you use every day. Yeah, it's just nothing special.
Wow. And what about raccoons? You trap those as well?
Yeah, so we'll trap raccoons and take them away. They'll get into people's attics and they'll eat all sorts of stuff outside people's houses.
What do you service more like apartments, or do you do homes as well?
We do basically everything. So yeah, apartments, commercial, homes, basically anything and everything we'll get into.
What are some of the questions that frequently come up in your business from clients?
People, see. Well, it just depends on what pest issue they're having, but like bed bugs are a big issue nowadays, and they always are wondering if we can get rid of them, if it's possible, or if they're going to be living with them for a long time. And yeah, we can get rid of them in about a month, but after the first treatment, it takes care of them. Like, they won't get bit anymore after that.
What's the treatment for bed bugs?
So we'll spray basically everywhere where they're hiding. We'll spray with insecticide. So all the baseboards, the sides of the mattress, frame of the bed, box spring, cracks and crevices of sofas, curtains. So basically everywhere. So
if you have a call for bed bugs and then you spray, how long before the person can sleep on that bed or sleep in the bedroom after you've treated it?
About 4 hours. So it's got to completely dry, and then it's good to go.
Okay. And do you usually open a window or try to air that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really smell. So as long as they don't touch it till it's dry, it's safe and good to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, this is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We are your local advocates for real estate and finance, and we watch out for you in all areas of real estate and finance. And that's why we thought it'd be good to bring on a pest control specialist today to talk about the different problems that can come up when owning a home or when renting. And pests are part of this world, part of this life, and things that we have to deal with. And that's why we brought Max Pia on. Tell me the name of your company again, Max.
It's called Pest Pro.
Pest Pro.
Yep, local business in Salt Lake.
And we love to support our local businesses. This is a local show. We're all about building up local businesses, building up a team of professionals to help you. If you'd like to get in touch with Max, if you're having any kind of pest issue or if you have any questions, give us a call at 801-674-9995 and we can get you in touch with Max. Max, what advice do you have for someone that's has an issue with roaches or any other type of pest? So
roaches, we see them more often in apartment complexes, and landlords will deal with them with their tenants. So basically, just you need to get all the food and everything up, and basically make sure it's super clean, and then we'll come in, we'll treat it, and yeah, as long as it's clean, and basically the tenants are the ones that you got to look for and make sure that they're keeping your apartment or house real clean.
Again, this is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We've got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Max Pia, talk a little bit more about pest control, and we've also got a free lunch giveaway coming up later in the show. Stay with us, and we will be right back. This is 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. Welcome back. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. Just wanted to give a special thanks to my show assistant, Raquel Folger. She does such a great job lining up our guests and getting the show ready each week. Raquel, thank you so much. Also, a special thanks to Corey Hooker for running the boards and keeping things running smoothly and sounding great. We're here. We got Max Pia with Pest Pro. He is a local company, a local business owner. Definitely support him. If you want to get in touch with Max about any pest control needs or questions, please give us a call at 801-674-9995 or text the word pest to 801-674-9995. We'll get you in touch with Max. He can answer all of your questions and concerns and hopefully get your life running better. So it sounds, Max, like keeping your house clean is probably one of the first steps in prevention of pests.
Of roaches.
Roaches.
Yeah, especially roaches.
So cleanliness doesn't matter as much with some of these others. So no matter what you do, they're going to come into your house.
Yeah, so like bed bugs, you're just going to get them. If you go, let's say you went to a hotel and you picked them up, you brought them home. The cleanliness isn't like, they're not attracted to the cleanliness, but you got to be clean in order for in order for us to do our job and get the insecticides where they need to be, and then have the bed bugs go where the insecticides are.
Where do bed bugs come from? Like, how do they get from place to place? Where do they come from to start with?
So they're a people bug, so they're always around people. So yeah, you can pick them up at hotels, movie theaters, like a guest could bring them into your house.
So by shaking someone's hand or giving someone a hug?
No, not really. So someone would have to have them on them, and then they would come into your house and one would fall off of them, or you'd pick one up at the movie theater.
Okay.
Pick them up at a hotel.
Are they related to lice at all?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
Different species?
And they're bigger. Like an adult is about a 1/4 inch. So you could definitely see them.
What color are they?
They're reddish brown.
Okay. And we were talking, they go for your blood, basically.
Yeah. So they want to get a blood vessel and get a good meal off of you.
Oh, wow. So kind of like a mosquito or a leech.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got, I think there's dust mites that will live in your bed, and those are mostly eating like dead skin and things. But then you've got bed bugs. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the other ones. Let's talk about spiders.
All right.
What's going on with spiders right now?
So in Salt Lake in Utah, there's 2 poisonous spiders. There's the black widow and the hobo spider. And every year I'll get clients that have got bitten by a hobo at least, and we'll treat for them. But what we do is we'll spray all the baseboards, the foundation, and we can get rid of them. The first treatment will basically kill all the live ones, and typically we want to come back a month later and spray again and get enough insecticide down so when the eggs hatch that the babies will die as well.
Which one do you see more of in Salt Lake? Do you see more black widows or more hobo spiders?
It depends on the season, but typically late fall we'll see a lot of black widows, and then you'll start seeing the hobo spider webs spring up in midsummer and throughout the fall.
And black widow spider webs look differently.
Yeah,
than the hobo spider
so
webs?
hobo spider webs, they make their spider web in a little triangle, and at the end of the triangle there'll be a little hole where they retreat back into, and they'll typically be in corners. And then the black widow, if you imagine like taking a cotton ball and pulling it apart, it's just their spider webs are really erratic shaped
and kind of thick and
yeah, just like kind of just disorganized.
Do both of those, people can die, but I think there's treatments for both of those.
Yeah, there's treatments
if you get bit, right?
But you definitely want to go straight to the doctor and get it taken care of. They can get pretty bad,
so it can move pretty fast.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you get bit, go to the hospital right away.
Yeah,
and you don't do those treatments. You're just treating for the spiders.
No,
right?
I'm not a doctor.
Okay. So you don't carry around the vaccines or the treatments with you. Okay.
No.
So do you treat mice?
Yeah, we treat mice and rats, and yeah, I mean that's a big issue in Salt Lake. We see those basically every single day. And
what do you do for those?
We set up bait stations, so we'll put bait stations on the inside and outside of your house, and then that's another cleanliness. So if you have dog food or bird seed laying around, or compost piles will attract them, or fruit from the tree. So basically we need to get rid of all that food, and then they'll go straight to the bait.
So the bait station, is that like a food or is that a spray?
It's a poison. Well, it's a little plastic bait station that locks, and then we'll put poison bait in there. So they'll go in there, eat the bait, and then they'll die.
And then they die inside the trap?
No, they'll die outside
the trap.
Yeah.
So you might, if you get treatment, you might see a few dead mice or rats around the house.
Yeah, sometimes. Mostly they die outside. And if you don't want it, sometimes people don't want that, so we'll set up snap traps. It just doesn't work as quickly, but that's another option.
I've heard that mice can fit through the size of like a penny opening.
Yeah.
So they can get inside and out of your house pretty easily.
Yeah, I'd say a dime. They can get through almost anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So a lot of your treatments involve sprays. What are some of the treatments that don't involve sprays?
So rats, mice don't, gophers, and then any mammal doesn't. And that's pretty much it. So basically any rodent or mammal doesn't.
So a lot of insects involve sprays.
Yeah, correct. All the insects are sprays.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've seen like on the news, sometimes I've seen that companies will spray incorrectly or use the wrong dosage and people can get sick or injured. Is there any kind of certifications or?
Yeah. So in Utah, you need to be certified. You need to take tests and get certified, and which is awesome. It's really good, to make sure no accidents happen. And all the different chemicals, they tell you exactly how they should be used and treated. So there really shouldn't be any problems happening unless the technicians are just not going by the book at all.
So do you mix your own chemicals or do you buy those already pre-made?
So the chemicals come in concentrates, and then we mix them with water.
Okay.
Yeah, for the spray chemicals.
So there is a possibility that the dilution could be wrong, but you guys monitor that pretty closely.
Yeah. So the bottles make it easy to measure. So it's pretty hard to mess up.
And who's your tech?
So I've got Zach Johnson as my tech, and I go out and do a lot of the work. And yeah.
Okay.
Two of us make a good team.
So you're involved in the day-to-day, and then you're also involved in the treatments too.
Yeah. I like to get out at least once a week and kind of keep my hands in it and just make sure everything's going good.
Awesome. And what year did you start? It's Pest Pro, right?
Yeah, I started it for about 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Again, we're talking with Max Pia with Pest Pro. He's a local business owner and pest control specialist. Again, if you want to get in touch with Max, give us a call at 801-674-9995 or text the word pest to 801-674-9995. And we'll get you in touch with Max and answer any pest questions that you have and get your house cleaned up if that's an issue for you. So Max, you said that your job's different. What are some of the things that you love about your job?
So I love every day something new. We see all sorts of stuff. So like yesterday I went into a house that the owner, it was a rental, and I opened up a door. He's like, watch out. And then he's like, look up. And it was just covered in cockroaches. And he's like, dude, one of them just about fell on your head.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So they were just crawling on the ceiling?
Yeah, they're crawling everywhere.
Oh.
It's insane.
Do you wear a suit or anything in that case?
No, if we just go in there. I've never brought anything home. Knock on wood.
So roaches on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty gnarly.
What, have you ever been bitten or anything from the treatments that you've done?
Yeah, I've never been bitten. I mean, I've been stung a couple times for wasp and hornet treatments, but nothing really that bad.
So you're still alive and doing well and excited about pest control.
Yeah, one of my techs, he was a pretty wild kid. There was 3 skunks down in a window well, and he's thinking how to do it. And I'm out of town. I'm out camping, so he couldn't get a hold of me. So he grabs a 5-gallon bucket, throws the bee suit on, jumps down in the window well with 3 skunks and throws them all in the bucket. And of course he's like completely covered in skunk smell. They just shot him all over.
What'd you guys do with the bee suit after that?
We like washed it like 10 times probably.
Is it true that tomato juice can get rid of the skunk smell?
I just use detergent. I don't know.
Oh man. So bees, wasps, what do you guys use a spray for those too? Yeah,
so wasps. So yeah, there's a few different types. So there's a yellow jacket, and we'll use a dust, and those are really hard for like a homeowner to get rid of. So that I would recommend getting a professional to get rid of the yellow jackets. But the paper wasps that are up in the eaves, you can get a spray from like Home Depot, and they're not too bad to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to be careful.
I've seen those Home Depot traps. I think it's like kind of like a yellow cone. Is that for yellow jackets?
They're for all wasps will be attracted to them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but yeah, yellow jackets are definitely attracted to them.
Okay. Well, again, this is Max Pia. He's Pest Pro, local professional. He's part of our preferred list of professionals. I highly trust him with your pest control needs. Again, if you want to get in touch with Max, it's 801-674-9995. Like we were talking about earlier, keeping your house clean is an important step, but sometimes you'll get pests or rodents with no fault of your own. And that's why it's good to trust a professional in those cases, that he can come in there, get it treated right, and get it taken care of. Are you running any specials right now?
Yeah, if you call in, we can do 20% off.
Okay.
Of whatever the treatment is.
Yeah, just mention the radio show and Max can get you 20% off of your treatment. What are some of the price ranges for different types of treatments? So
spiders typically will start out at about $85, $95, depending on your house. And we do a lot of maintenance programs. So a lot of people just don't want to see bugs in their house. So we'll come out, we'll spray initial treatment. We'll come back in a month and spray again. And that'll break the life cycle. Then we'll come by quarterly and treat. And then we guarantee it all the time. So if you ever see anything, we'll swing out there and get it again. Not just for the people that just don't want to see anything around.
What's the price on one of those maintenance packages?
So typically it'll start out about $120 to $150, depending on the size of your house, and then between $75, $85 quarterly.
Okay, those are good. So again, this is Max. It's so great to have you on the show today. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks. It's been fun being on here.
Yeah, this is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We are dedicated to finding you local professionals to help with all parts of your real estate and financial needs. I'm your host, Clint Womack. I'm the owner of Vintage Lending and Realty. We own a local mortgage and real estate firm here and committed to bringing you the timely truths in real estate and finance. If you haven't liked us on Facebook, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Womack Radio, or go to our radio webpage at womackradio.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got a free lunch giveaway coming up after the break, and we've got my dad coming on the show. He does home and auto insurance. So stay with us, and we will be right back after the break. This is 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker.
I don't wanna stop. I'm not scared. I want it. I want it.
Welcome back. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. We've been talking with Max Pia, a local business owner for Pest Control, and now joining us on the show is my father, Layne Womack. Dad, it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, so you are the owner of Your Good Insurance Agency. You do home and auto insurance in California, Utah. Tell me a little bit about the fires that are going on right now in California.
Yeah, that's every area has their challenges. And out here, we're in San Diego as our headquarters, and the brush fires are just crazy. I don't know, for those of you who might not know, there were just mammoth brush fires about 7-8 years ago, and it's kind of interesting because so many houses, there were literally hundreds of houses that burned down that fire. They rebuilt the new ones to code, so even though we're having really large brush fires, thousands of acres, very few houses in comparison are burning down. I think last I checked, there were maybe 30 or 40 houses versus the last fire, there might have been upwards of 1,000 houses that burned down.
Wow. So the building codes and building ordinances definitely are important for brush fires. Yeah,
and that was one of the interesting things is sometimes customers will get upset when the carrier asks them to do something about that, but most of the times it's for their benefit, even though it feels like a pain in the rear, when they're doing the work.
Yeah, what are some of the things that people can do that are in those areas that are heavy brush fire?
Like, one of the best stories ever for me was there was this house I was insuring. It was like $1 million house over in a densely brush area. There's different categories of brush, and this one was actually categorized in brush. The house was literally in brush.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and there was only one place to get the insurance, to California Fair Plan. They went out there and inspected, said, "Whoa, you got to clear this brush for 200 feet." And the customer he was so mad, and he was kicking and screaming, but there was nowhere else to get the insurance. And he literally spent like $3,000 or $4,000 clearing out all that brush. But then about a month later, after it was done, a gigantic brush fire went in the area. And with the fire companies, when they were deciding which houses they wanted to save, they looked at which ones they could defend. And literally, his neighbor on the house on the right burned down because they hadn't cleared their brush. The neighbor on the left burned down. But the fire department stuck fire trucks in front of this guy's house because he had a defensible space. And after that, I learned, sometimes when they ask you to do these things, it really works and it's really helpful. And you should have heard the customer. They were so happy, and they were literally crying on the phone when they were going through it, and so happy they had, cleared that brush. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
$1 million home, you definitely want to probably take their advice and listen to what the insurance company has to say about that.
Yeah, I think they owned it free and clear, too. So
they had a little bit to protect there.
Yeah, right.
Wow. So brush is big in California. What are some of the other perils or other things that you see that come up?
The number one, I don't know for your listeners out there, but the number one source of claims for every insurance agency that I know about is actually water leaks in the house. And it could be a valve breaking. It could be a little, like a pinhole leak in a water pipe. So one of the good little things to do is nowadays they have these wire enforced tube, rubber pipes that go connect from the water supply to your washer or your washing machine. And anytime you have like an ice maker, you should always get the reinforced ones and not use simple plastic. And those are simple, easy to do things that can save you a world of trouble.
Yeah, I know we both had issues with water leaks. I think we went on vacation one time and we had that mini fridge upstairs
right.
that leaked. How much was that claim? Was that 20 or 30,000?
Right. And that was all from a little 3-inch, 4-inch plastic tube that was, probably a quarter. And we could have spent $3 on the reinforced one and never had a problem. But we all live and learn on these things.
Live and learn. Yeah, I know. I had a water issue too here in Utah. That's actually a big issue is basements flooding or pipes breaking or freezing. Big time water issues. I think I would agree. That's one of the big issues here in Utah. Like, a couple of years ago, my main line, the valve broke off and my whole main water line was spilling into my basement all night.
Yikes.
And, we woke up, I went to turn the sink on in the morning upstairs and there was no water and I was like, what is going on? And then I heard this kind of water rushing sound downstairs and, ran down into about 3 or 4 feet of water down in the basement. So
that is not the sound you want to hear.
No, you want your water to turn on in the morning, and you don't want to hear your water rushing onto the ground at night. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, a couple good things too is like if you're ever going on vacation, it's really a pretty good idea to just turn your water off while you're on vacation. There's no one there. Anytime you have a second home, always great idea to keep the water turned off when you're not there, because those just are a great way to, eliminate half the troubles that pop up.
Yeah, especially if you're in a colder area where the pipes can freeze and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you recommend turning it off at the house or down at the street, or does it either one?
Well, usually at the house is where most people. The one that's easy to get to, that's in the front of the house. That's what works good.
Okay.
What most people do. Yeah.
Good tip. When I was younger and didn't really understand how things worked, I kind of always thought that insurance was a waste of money. But now that I've seen more accidents happen and seen things come up, you may feel like you're just paying the insurance money, but if an accident happens, you're going to be grateful that you had adequate coverage.
Yeah, it's funny because some people can go 20 years and never have a claim, and then you'll have other people that'll have, a bunch of claims. So, a couple good thoughts, like if you're trying to protect how much you pay for insurance, sometimes it's a good idea, like say you have $1,000 deductible and the claim might be $1,200 or $1,300, $1,500. You're only going to wind up getting a few $100. Those are usually better paid out of pocket, because it's not worth it to turn in a claim you're not going to receive much, if any, money on, and have it affect your rates. So a lot of times people assume just turn in any claim. Not necessarily. Sometimes you want to balance that with what the benefit is of turning in the claim against what your future rates will be. Is
it true that the more claims you have, the higher your premium is going to be?
Yeah, there's actually a repository kind of. It's not the same thing, but it keeps track of all the claims that you have. So they, when you have claims, they'll know. So you always want to try to keep that down as low as you can. Less claims is better insurance rates. Everybody's happier when they're paying less for their insurance, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've looked at that insurance software. It looks pretty sophisticated.
Yeah. That's it's pretty high tech in the insurance industry, more than some.
Yeah, and the thing that I understand more about insurance now is it's pooling the risk. So if maybe you don't have a claim for 20 years, but you're everyone's putting their money together and kind of taking care of the community and kind of pulling the risk together. And then if for whatever reason you do end up having a claim, you're kind of pulling that risk together with everyone else.
Yeah, I don't want to speak to the ratings, but in general, I mean, certain areas, certain zip codes are going to have a higher rate than others just because what you're talking about. They'll look and they'll say, what kind of rate or experience are we having in this area? What kind are we having in this area? And that can actually affect how much people pay for their insurance, is what the area is like.
This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We're talking with Layne Womack, the owner of Your Good Insurance. He focuses primarily on home and auto insurance. And if you'd like to get in touch with Layne for an insurance question or any type of quote, give us a call at 801-674-9995, and we'll get you in touch with Layne. He can put a quote together. I trust Layne. He's my dad, and we've done business together for a long time, and he knows what he's doing, and he's there to answer your questions and protect you. And he's really, really good at what he does, and he's fast too. He can get things done fast, and he can get things done that a lot of other insurance companies might not be able to get done, like that $1 million home that you insured in Brush. There are probably some other insurance companies out there that might not be able to insure that type of home.
Yeah, I actually get a lot of referrals in business from just, where people can't get something done and they need to. So they'll call me on the tough ones sometimes.
Layne Womack, you're insurance guru, also my dad, great guy. Again, if you have any questions, text the word insurance to 801-674-9995, and we'll get you in touch with Layne Womack. Any other stories or experiences that you've had recently that come to mind?
It's just neat when you help people, and like they feel like you've gone out of your way for them, and that's what I value and like you can tell how people feel about you by just the way they talk with you when they're on the phone, and when it's going the way you want it to, you're treating them almost like family, and that's kind of what we try to do, is really care about the people and have fun. There's so many stories. Insurance stories never stop, but like my first customer was this gal, and I had worked with her in another business, and she said, I want to be your first customer. And so she was my first customer. Now we have literally thousands of customers, and it was just neat that she wanted to be my first customer. Her name's Virginia, and I sure appreciate that and appreciate her. And, we really appreciate all our customers.
Yeah, I remember before I got into the mortgage and real estate business, I was planning on going to medical school and decided not to go that route. And when I was getting into mortgage and real estate, I remember talking with you and just how important you said to build trust and build rapport with your clients and treat them like family. And that's what we try to do here. I know that's what you do in your business, and that's why we brought you on the show, is because we can trust you with that.
Hey, Clint, I will say this, even though you're my son, man, have I gotten a lot of compliments from people on the way you've treated them. And I know I'm talking about my own kid here, but you really do follow that path, and I've had more than one person tell me that. So, well,
thanks for the compliment.
Yeah,
that's really what the show is all about. We really do care about you, each of you listening. We want the best for you, and we want to connect you with professionals that can help you make the right decisions and get you in a better financial position. We've got to take a quick break right now. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll have our free lunch giveaway. We'll also have an open house segment, and we'll continue our conversation with Layne Womack. Stay with us. This is Utah's Big Talker on 860 AM. Welcome back. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. We are talking with my father, Layne Womack, the owner of Your Good Insurance Agency, who focuses primarily on home and auto insurance. So, Dad, you do a lot of business in California. We do business together in Utah. What are some of the other states that you service?
We do Arizona and Nevada also.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for those that are just tuning in, so you do home and auto. What branches of that do you do?
That's our focus. But once you start getting a lot of customers, they'll ask you to do different kinds of insurance. So we're into the thousands of customers now. We have multiple thousands. So now we do a lot of different kinds, but definitely home and auto are our focus.
Yeah, I know, like, you can get little riders. Like, I know for me personally, we have a jewelry rider that goes on with our home insurance. And it seems like home insurance can expand pretty widely. Like, I think it can go to storage units and stuff that's maybe not even included in the home. Is that right?
Well, sometimes and I don't want to say specifically because this can vary by carrier, but a lot of times your home insurance, the products will go. You can't necessarily insure another location, but your products or your possessions might be insured in another location. So again, that can vary by carrier. So I don't want to say any hard and fast rule, but in general, that'll apply with a lot of carriers.
What are the most important coverages that you want to watch for on your home? So I think with liability and fire, are those probably two of the most important?
Yeah, the number one coverage is the dwelling coverage, because that'll determine if your place ever did burn down, how much money you would have to replace it. So even though a fire's actually very unlikely to ever happen, you always want to make sure you have enough coverage to another one is you want to make sure you have replacement cost on your personal property. Some carriers will do what's called ACV, or actual cash value, and that's a big difference right there. So that they'll depreciate that, and you'll get a fraction of what your property's worth if you're on actual cash value. So you always want to make sure you have replacement cost on your personal property. And
is it true that if someone gets hurt on your property, that you could potentially be liable for that?
Absolutely. The liability on your house is a lot of times what you'll hear people call is slip and fall. So that's where if someone slips and falls and hurts themselves on your property. But there can be other types of liability that are covered. Again, this can vary a lot by the carrier, so I don't want to get too specific there. But, that's what the liability is there for, is if someone slips and falls and hurts themselves, that you'll have coverage and you'll be protected.
So like trampolines are big in Utah, so potentially if a kid got hurt on a trampoline, that could end up being a liability for a homeowner. Yeah,
but most carriers are going to exclude trampolines for just that reason. There might be a few that carry them, but most of them, if they let you have some trampolines, some carriers, if you have a trampoline, they won't cover it. But other carriers will let you have a trampoline, but there's no coverage. So nowadays they make those trampolines that have the nets around them. Check with your carrier, make sure they allow it at least, and make sure you use one of those ones with a net, because they'll tend to prevent that catastrophic type of injuries that you can get on there.
As you can tell, insurance has all different types of details and caveats, and that's why it's so important that you work with a professional, someone that can answer your questions and can look into all those little details and make sure that you're covered. And God forbid anything bad happen, we always hope the best and hope that nothing bad happens, but to make sure that you're protected if something does happen. And I assume with auto coverage, the same would be the case. It seems like liability would probably be one of the most important parts of the auto insurance.
Yeah, and one you really want to make sure you have nowadays is uninsured motorists, because especially like out here in California, I don't know what the real numbers are, but it seems about half the people are driving without insurance. So it's not that high, but I will say a large amount of the people who are involved in wrecks don't have insurance, and that's really fair to say. I mean, it's a big percentage, and you always want to make sure you have uninsured motorists in case someone causes trouble, and you're protected there. Some people will lower their uninsured. I like to match it with your main coverage. So say if you have 100, 300, some people will drop that uninsured down to 30 or 50. We like to keep that uninsured up high because, when it goes south with an uninsured motorist, sometimes it can be really bad, and you really want to watch that.
Yeah, because if the person that hits you doesn't have insurance and your coverage is lowered, you're kind of stuck holding the bag if you've lowered that coverage, right?
Well, yeah, and there can be even instances where they cause the wreck, cause you to do something, and you'll wind up being responsible because you're the one who has insurance. So you always want to make sure you have that uninsured motorist coverage, at least equal with your regular coverage. That's just my opinion. That's what I suggest to my customers. Some people will do it differently, but for me and my customers, that's sure what I try to advise.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago, actually, I got rear-ended by a guy that didn't have insurance, and we tried to chase him down. We tried to the insurance company tried to go after him for the money and the claim to fix my car. Luckily, I wasn't hurt, but I remember we weren't able to ever get any money from him, and it's just it could be a nightmare if there's injuries involved.
Yeah, here's an insurance term for you out there. That's what you call subrogation. And subrogation means that your insurance company will pay, but then they'll try to collect it from someone else. If they're able to collect it from the other company, then your claim won't count against you, and that's called a subrogation.
So in that case, my insurance company tried to go after this guy, and they didn't collect the money from him because he didn't have insurance and he wouldn't pay. So unfortunately, that kind of stays on my record, even though he was the one that hit me and he wasn't insured.
Right. It can be what you call a not at fault accident, but it's just best to make sure your coverages are there, and that you cover against those rascals that are driving out there without insurance.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those guys.
That's for sure.
What any words of parting wisdom for anyone that has questions about insurance or any insurance?
Yeah, you did mention the jewelry floater. A lot of times people don't realize that their insurance is limited on jewelry coverage, so it's really inexpensive to get an endorsement to insure your engagement ring. For most people, that's what it's all about, making sure that engagement ring's covered. If you have an engagement ring of any value at all, you should add that to your insurance. It's very cheap, and you will be happy you did. Last year, I think we had 3 or 4 people who turned in claims for rings that got lost, so or stolen. So it's a good thing to have coverage for. You want to be able to replace those rings.
That's what this show is all about. It's about getting you in touch with the professionals that can help you get you the coverages and the service that you need to get in a better financial position and secure the things that you've worked so hard for, and in an insurance case, protect your family if anything bad is to happen. So great to have you on the show, Dad. Thanks for joining us.
Nice talking with you. You take it easy, and thanks for having me.
Yeah. If you want to get in touch with Layne Womack or have any questions for Layne, call us at 801-674 $99.95 or text the word insurance to 801-674-9995. We'll get in touch with Layne Womack. Like I said before, he's my dad. I trust him, and I do business with him regularly, and I know he has your best interests at heart, and he wants to protect you and make sure that all the valuables in your life, including your family, are protected to ensure that you're in a good place if anything bad happens. We have our free lunch giveaway coming up. Right now, I'd like to share 3 open houses with you. Our first open house is at 2544 East Dimpledale Road in Sandy. That home is listed for $759,000 and is listed by the Group Real Estate. Our next and that home is open on Saturday, May 24th from 2 to 4 p.m. Our next open house is at 834 South Blair Street in Salt Lake City. That home is listed for $193,000 and is listed by Keller Williams, Salt Lake City. The home is open on Saturday, May 24th from 1 to 3 p.m. And our last open house of the day is out in Draper. That home is located at 14272 South Draper Hill Drive, number 159. That home is listed for $259,990. That's new construction by D.R. Horton. That home is open both on Saturday and Sunday, May 24th and May 25th, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. D.R. Horton does a great job. We list their open houses on our show a lot. If you have any questions about these open houses or you'd like to schedule a private showing, I'm Clint Womack with Vintage Realty. I can set up that showing for you and answer any questions. My number is 801-674-9995. Today, our free lunch is to Cafe Rio. Cafe Rio is located in many places throughout the valley. They have a variety of foods, which include enchiladas, tacos, soup, salads, and their famous pork burrito, which I love enchilada style. They have an amazing fresh key lime pie and flan. They offer a great variety of drinks, including strawberry lemonade, mint, or Southwest limeade, and of course the horchata. We have that free lunch giveaway for you, so call us at 801-674-9995 or text the words free lunch to 801-674-9995, and we will hook you up with that free lunch for 2 to Cafe Rio. Thank you so much for listening to the show today. We hope that you find value from tuning in and listening to the experts that we have come on and talk about different real estate and financial matters. We're your local advocates for real estate and finance. We really care about you, and we want the best for you. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker.
The sky was red, fire on the mountain, she said.